All right, let's dive into something really strange today. We're going to piece together a story from this tiny, isolated village where things got weird. We'll be hearing directly from the people who lived through it as their entire reality started to unravel. So, let's get into it.
It all starts with just a feeling, a little nagging sense that something is off. And this quote, man, it just captures that perfectly. It's that quiet, creeping feeling that the world you thought you knew has been fundamentally disturbed. This is our starting point.
So, that vague sense of unease, it didn't stay vague for long. Pretty soon, it turned into something very, very real that everyone could see. Something new arrived, and it was the first concrete sign that the old rules just didn't apply anymore.
And the way this person describes it is what's so incredibly creepy. These things, these creatures, they didn't just appear in a flash. They trickled. Can you imagine that? They just sort of materialized out of the sky, slowly but surely. The sheer strangeness of that, how casual it was, made it all the more terrifying.
And the immediate result was, well, chaos. Life just stopped. People were literally trapped in their homes. Simple things like going to get groceries or checking on a neighbor suddenly became impossible. This barrier of unknown things had just dropped down around them, and with it came this wave of fear and total uncertainty.
So, of course, this leads to the big questions, right? The ones everybody was asking, probably shouting in their heads. What in the world are these things? Where do they even come from? And maybe the scariest question of all, what do they want? These questions are just hanging in the air, and nobody has a clue.
But here's the thing. The arrival of these creatures, that was just the opening act. The villagers were about to find out that this wasn't just some isolated event. No, the very fabric of their world, all the fundamental laws they took for granted, were starting to come apart at the seams.
Suddenly, it was like a flood of weirdness. The water didn't taste right anymore. The trees just felt different. Boulders would appear out of thin air. You could fall in one spot and land somewhere else entirely. People started talking differently. And then, the real kicker, a dog started to talk. I mean, it was a complete and total breakdown of reality as they knew it.
This is just... wow. Let that sink in. A dog, who apparently always had these thoughts, can suddenly say them out loud. And what's amazing is that even the dog finds it peculiar. This shows us it's not just the physical world that's changing, it's something much deeper, something metaphysical that's breaking down the barriers between species.
Okay, so what happens when the ground beneath your feet is no longer solid, metaphorically speaking? How does a whole community react? Well, we see people splinter off and try to cope in some very, very different ways.
You really see two main camps forming here. On one side, you've got a guy like Person 1 who's basically saying, I'm not scared, I'm just cautious. He'd rather stay inside and watch a movie than face whatever's out there. But then you have Person 3 who does the exact opposite. He runs towards the mystery, collecting samples, totally convinced there's a scientific answer to be found.
And then, of course, there's the voice of pure anxiety. For this person, all this strangeness isn't some puzzle to be solved. No, it's just confirmation of what they've always believed, that reality is inherently negative. The uncertainty of it all just proves their point that even if the glass is half full, it's always, always half empty too.
And in complete contrast, you get this, a reaction that's almost detached. In the middle of all this chaos, Person 7 is just sort of marveling at the concept of reality itself. It's not fear, it's not a rush to find answers, it's just this calm, philosophical wonder at how bizarre existence can be.
So, with all these weird events and all these different ways of thinking, it was only a matter of time before people started cooking up theories. They had to try and make sense of it all. This is where the real search for a cause kicks off.
And a major split in thinking started to show. You had the scientific types who were guessing maybe the creatures were some weird kind of fog, or maybe this was all a mass psychological event. But then you had the village sages looking to much older ideas, suggesting that maybe a ritual dance could fix things, or that this was all tied to the ancient loneliness of the rocks.
And beyond these group theories, you also get these really deep personal philosophies. One villager comes up with this whole idea of temporal spatial perception. Basically, they're arguing that time isn't a constant thing. It's fluid, and it changes based on who you are and where you are. It's a fascinating attempt to build a new set of rules for a world that's thrown out the old ones.
So,
If you boil it all down, the community really split into 4 camps trying to find answers. You have the scientists looking for evidence, you have the sages looking to the past, you have the thinkers questioning the very nature of reality, and then you have everyone else, the villagers, just trying to trust their own eyes and gut feelings to get through it.
You know, in the end, all these different theories, all these reactions, they don't really lead to a simple answer. Instead, they push everyone toward a much deeper, much more profound set of questions about what existence even is.
And this line from one of the scientists just says it all. You can feel the shift in their thinking. This isn't about weird creatures or funny-tasting water anymore. It's become an investigation into the self. The hope isn't just to solve the mystery outside, but to maybe finally understand what rots at our souls.
Which leaves us right here, with this one last haunting question. What if this whole nightmare, this world falling apart, isn't some external force attacking them? What if it's just a reflection? A mirror showing them what's already changing or breaking inside of them? That's the truly unnerving idea at the heart of this whole thing.